Good afternoon, everyone. I could do one of these horrible YouTube "Hi guys," but I'm not going to. I'm just not as fake as them. Anyway, I thought I would do some YouTube videos and some just videos in general of architecture, and I really liked the approach that Simon Sinek took years ago when he literally broke the internet with one of his TED Talk videos. And that's the why, the how, and the what. And I guess I'm going to try and put them round architecture. Simon talks about them in the fashion of businesses. And I guess as a contractor, I'm a business. I know the government doesn't see it that way. But, you know, I do travel across the UK. I have worked locally here in Scotland, as well as working for various companies, Department of Education, across the UK in the last couple of years as an architect. So currently I'm an enterprise architect, which kind of really means that you're kind of at the top of the architecture chain. It's one of those things that you enjoy doing, so you continue to try and work for other companies to do that. So I'll start off with what I believe is the why I'm an architect. I think that's quite personal. The part for me is allowing to demonstrate my creativity. I like looking at customer journeys. I like looking at how the services could change and be better for customers. But I come from a technology and applications and data background, so it's really working across all the facets of that. So, which I'll cover a wee bit nearer the end about different types of architecture roles. But really getting over what I can do for customers. How can I make their lives better? How can I make digital transformation work for companies? And also something that I've always enjoyed doing is helping to educate people around me, bringing new ideas to the table. So it's just stuff like that is maybe the why I'm an architect. And that's probably a problem-solving, logical type approach. I'm an ENTJ according to Myers-Briggs. But I guess it's really something that I'm really lucky. I get to go to my job every day and go, I really like this, and I really like making change. So that's the why I'm an architect. How do you become an architect? So that's the how. Well, for me, I was a developer in my early days. I was aware of infrastructure, I was aware of networks, but I didn't really choose a particular subject matter expert area. I kind of fell into infrastructure. I worked for a consultancy firm, started to be more one page ahead of the customer, worked weekends for free to try and get new skills built on, physically built servers, physically deployed them in data centres, then started to move into virtualised world as the world changed 10 years ago, 15 years ago from a virtualisation perspective. And then realistically, I started to then focus on being an architect, which was different from being a subject matter expert. So subject matter expert tends to specialise in an area, so maybe like Wintel or Linux or something like product generalisation, and you could be a network engineer or something like that. So that's you being a SME or an SME. But what happens is as you move up a little bit, move up the chain a little bit, and you start to specialise and be the go-to guy, you maybe start looking at advanced solutions to stop problems coming down the line. So you start to be proactive in designing systems, and you start to do low-level designs, then maybe high-level designs, and then you start to produce more what's called artifacts. So in the enterprise architecture world, we look at artifacts as documents. Again, it's language. Some things change when you start to become an architect. You mention things differently. It does tend to be a sort of language that you get in some companies. So you go to companies and you call people stakeholders and things like that. and these are just team members, so it's a language thing sometimes. But I think what happens is you become the most experienced SME in the field, and you maybe move away from a third line support, fourth line support job, you move into more project delivery, and then you're actually starting to deliver designs. And I kind of transitioned into it, but I think my early consultancy days, I was never really a third, fourth line support person, but I enjoyed delivering solutions. So I kind of became a solution architect. I did some business and applications, business processing, looked at infrastructure. I was pretty strong on networking, security, server building, all that sort of stuff. And that's how the role changed for me. But I didn't really say, right, I'm going to wake up today and I'm an architect. I just changed, and I think maybe being a contractor was easier that way. So I moved into being an architect. So I started applying for architecture roles. I had a lot of my Microsoft qualifications in the early days, in the early sort of 2001, 2002 years, which maybe helped bolster. So some accreditations are good, so being an educated person, but also having some of the actual accreditations. And probably the more hands-on you get, the less the accreditations feel valuable to you, and you start to get asked for them less. So don't worry too much about if you don't have a lot of accreditations. It doesn't always get you the job, but it certainly doesn't help you not expand your knowledge of certain platforms, especially like AWS, Azure, Google Cloud Platform, and so on. So that's probably the how, and hopefully I've given some context to that. Let's look at the what. So what does my day look like being an architect? Well, I tend to look at, in the old waterfall world, it would be business requirements. So it would be non-functional requirements and functional requirements. So that's because problem known, solution known in the waterfall world. That's an Eric Ries Lean Startup quote. But in the agile world, it's very much problem known, solution unknown. So that's why we do alpha, beta and live implementations in an agile world. But the important part is the discovery that happened right at the beginning in an agile world. So in an agile world, that's kind of what I would be involved in. I would be getting the team together. I would be looking at the facets of business, data, applications and tech, that TOGAF model. So TOGAF stands for the Open Group Architecture Framework. It's a framework that's been around for quite a long time in various iterations. And it was used for a long time in a very strict fashion under waterfall projects. And I think there's various flavours of it now in agile methodology. But agile methodology is predominantly all driven around solution unknown. So slightly different in that respect is that you don't have all the information up front and you validate your customer journeys as you go along. But building out something called capabilities, that's really the interesting thing that I like looking at. So as a good example, take TripAdvisor. We've all used that site. So TripAdvisor is a ratings and review site. So you may look at building capabilities that you log in, so it's authentication. You may look at identity and access management. You may look at data storage. You may have flat file style data storage. You may have JSON style data storage key pairs. You may have relational data. You may have application integration, so you may have multiple layers. So normal built application microservices might be in there. You may have things like Internet of Things to do with your mobile devices that might recognise you're in a particular place by a cache cookie. So those types of things are the capabilities. They're called technical capabilities. And the idea there is that we haven't aligned a single program or piece of software to them. That's not what building capabilities are about. It's about recognising what the business needs to give the business capability, which is a ratings and reviews website, and that's the business capability. And we maybe have multiple customer journeys that use the website. So to that point, we've not actually talked about a single product, and that is probably something that people aren't that aware of, that enterprise architecture doesn't really go down to product level at this point. It helps and assesses products, and you may hear of things like TDA boards, and you may hear of other governing boards. We get involved in that. All the architects do. So architects come and present to the boards, and usually the enterprise architects and the technical architects and the solution architects and application architects, security architects, data architects, there's lots of us. So we tend to all form a discussion in a committee, and that is how we decide on what's best for the business moving forward to satisfy business capabilities and technical capabilities, and then products off the back of that. Gartner's got a very good document built in 2016 around cloud technologies and what capabilities. I've used that product paper over the last 4 or 5 years. I'm not sure if it's been revised in the last couple of years. It probably needs revised. Products like IBM's Bluemix has now changed to IBM Cloud, and so on like that. Google Cloud Platform is more prominent in UC adoption by Lloyd's the other day, and lots of other places. So that's really the what when it comes to being an architect and how my day looks. There's obviously, as I've mentioned there's various titles for architecture jobs. When I'm out in the marketplace looking for a new role, it's very difficult to try and get the descriptions. The recruitment agencies do their best to try and interpret from the customers what they're looking for. But if there was a way to standardise that, it's one thing I would change in the marketplace right now. I hope you've enjoyed my talk today. It's not been edited, it's completely live, so hopefully there's not that many mistakes in it. And hopefully I can bring more to you very, very soon. If you want to make some comments on either the YouTube channel or the LinkedIn posts, or if you want to DM me direct via LinkedIn or any other connection that you've got to me, please feel free. I'll look forward to getting your messages. Thanks very much. This is Paul saying goodbye.